All right. Cheers and salutations. Welcome, everybody, to Hard Lens Media. My name is Kit Cabello, and the purpose of this live stream is following through with a promise that I said on the morning show. We go live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central. And as we were talking about on the show earlier this morning, there was the talk of the release of the JFK files. Now, as the days continued, or as the hours continued to press on throughout the day, it was very clear that maybe some people were doubting the authenticity of Trump following through with his promise. And of course, we all partook in the memes and in the jokes. But as always, hey, be prepared for anything to happen, especially in this environment in social media where the news happens not within the hour, but every millisecond. So it's important for us to always be vigilant. And as it stands right now, the Trump administration has released 80,000 pages. And the purpose of this live stream is, number one, to prepare ourselves for a long process of going through these 80,000 pages, standing up and being ready to counter fake news, and also, once again, dealing with the process. Because there's going to be a whole process of finding out what exactly went down, whether or not these are pieces of information that we already know, that's already been given to us and how much of it has been changed or thwarted or evolved in any such way. And I want to point out that all of this is now available, and I will be sharing this right now via social media. These are the National Archives, the JFK assassination records. JFK assassination records of 2025 documents release. March 18th, 2025 release in accordance with President Donald Trump's directive of March 17th of 2025. All records previously withheld for classification that are part of President John F. Kennedy's assassination records collection are released. The National Archives has partnered with agencies across the federal government, and they would never lie to you, to comply with the president's directive in support of Executive Order 14176. As of March 18th, 2025, the records are available to access either online at this page or in person via hard copy or on analog media formats at the National Archives at the College Park, Maryland. As the records continue to be digitalized, they will be posted on this page. So also, folks, there are still some more records trickling in. How convenient that not all of them are truly there at the same time. So sections 10 and 11, section 10 of President John F. Kennedy's Assassination Records Act of 1992 address information under court seal or for grand jury secrecy, and section 11 of the act address records with tax return information subject to section 6103 of the Internal Revenue Code, IRS, or deeded to the government from a private citizen. Accessing records, here is the table, and we have approximately, as it stands right now, 113 pages. So at least within the document, 80,000 pages altogether that are available for you. And hey, look at this. In case you need it, click, copy, and paste. And goodness gracious, Cretaceous, there it is for everybody within the Rumble, YouTube, X, and of course, hey, why not Kick as well? So let's get that all set up right there for all of you to have access to, because I believe in information for all. So it is available. You could find that right now. People are right now tuning in. Please be sure to hit the like button as well. So let's talk about what went down. This was from Representative Tulsi Gabbard, who is the Director of National Intelligence. This was her tweet. President Trump is ushering in a new era of maximum transparency. Debatable. Today, per his direction, previously redacted JFK assassination files are being released to the public with no redactions. Promises made, promises kept. Continuing on, this is for a news immediate release. President Donald Trump promised maximum transparency and a commitment to rebuild the trust of the American people in the intelligence community and federal agencies. You got a long road to go down before you ever get our trust again. Never ask the CIA their relations with El Chapo. Part of that promise was to fully release the previously classified records related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What about Jeffrey E.? You know, Jay Epstein, that guy, everybody's buddy and pal in Congress, Bill Clinton's buddy, Trump's buddy. No one wants to talk about that? Yes, no, maybe. Again, this is all under President Trump's order 14176. So let's address something that has caused me, and I think all of us in independent media, to be a little bit worried about, and that is the passing around of fake news, fake information. And I think it's important for us to at least talk about what has been discovered so far. Right now, as it stands within the documentation, there has been, and these are from some notes here that I've been gathering online. And it starts with this right here. Let me roll up here. For example, there's the talk of Oswald being part of the KGB. Some JFK documents reference Oswald, Lee Harvey Oswald, as part of the KGB. Some of the documents play down Oswald's Soviet connection in the mid-20th century. One dated November 1999 cited a report from one American professor who goes by the name of E.B. Smith, who reported that he had talked in Moscow about Oswald with KGB official named Slava, who said he had reviewed 5 thick files about the assassination to determine if he had been a KGB agent. The individual who was with the KGB is now confident that Oswald was at no time an agent controlled by the KGB. Because, of course, who else better to blame than the Russians, right? They also talk about his possible connections or either that involvement with other quote-unquote communist countries, such as Fidel Castro's Cuba, or either that having some kind of proxy connection. However, those are being dismissed as the Castro regime did not want to antagonize JFK or his administration. Another person, which is also being shared about it, is that everyone is still indicating that Oswald had something to do with it. Nonetheless, he's still the guy. There isn't the mysterious handgun, or he's at the mysterious second shooter or third shooter or other potential groups out there. However, what is fascinating is something that I want to pull up here, and I want to share it with all of you right here. Newly released JFK files tell a story about how Gary Underhill, who worked for the CIA, was found deceased, dead, D-E-A-D, dead, after he revealed to friends that the CIA was responsible for JFK's assassination. The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination, he confined, and he was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than not 1, but 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it suicide or self-deletion. There you go. There's also the talk of, and this is something that I did find fascinating, and I want to give a huge shout out to the group called Hotspot. If you're not following Hotspot on social media, please do so. They have done phenomenal work in the past. They've done some great work with RBN and Nico House. But this was one thing in particular right here, such as CIA has no objection to declassification or the release of CIA information in this document, except brackets Lee, again, going from 1998. In the way background, the control file was created to give us the opportunity to closely monitoring the liaison with Angleton on a variety of matters which were not reported through normal CIA channels. CIA directors permitted Angleton to run several intelligence projects, many of them with the Israeli Intelligence Service. Nothing suspicious there. Don't worry about that. Don't be afraid, folks, and don't panic. We're only just scratching the surface here. However, it is also important to point out that there is a concept, or either that what is being shared is that some of these JFK files were already released under the JFK 1992 Act. Now, why is this important? Well, this relates to the fact of what we saw with the Jeffrey E. files that were also released. Now, those files in which we saw influencers and people of high followings and that social media clout were dancing up and down and holding the Jeffrey E. files as though they found something, when in fact that was stuff that was already released to the American public, which says a lot. As for all of this right here that is presented within the National Archives, there's still a treasure trove of information, stuff that has been released already and stuff that has not been shared out with the people. So, as it stands, Trump has made the promise of none of this information not being redacted. But I think it's important for us to also get a little idea about what the significance of the files were, or is it at why this is important within Trump and his administration, because Donald Trump made the promise that he was going to release these files and bring in true transparency to the American people. But because of the blundering of the Jeffrey E. files, perhaps it could explain why they weren't released later this afternoon, and in fact, more so later this evening, which I think many of us were happy about. I think many of us were satisfied with the fact that something did get released. However, breaking it down, we now as a public have to do this properly. So it's always important to cite your sources and vet everything. So as the Trump administration did release 80,000 files related to the assassination of John F. Kennedy, there's now a feeding frenzy out there amongst everyone who wants to be an authoritative expert. So, and this goes back to everyone that's been studying the events of what took place on November 22nd, 1963, on that sad day in Dallas, Texas. Several Trump administration officials told many news outlets in advance of the release that they did not expect new bombshells to emerge from the documents. Case in point, why I reference the JFK Act of 1992. Some of this stuff we've already seen before. Now, maybe this is just me being generous and kind here to all of you. And, let's maybe have a little poll. Let's have a little bit fun. Let's have some questions. But did you really think they would give it all away? Question mark. And of course, why not have some engagement late this evening? Go ahead and vote, people. No such thing as a wrong answer, and give us your comments as well. Vote, vote, vote. All the way if you can. Now, that commission right now. No, hold on. Let's actually rewind back a little bit here because I want to read a little bit more from my notes here. So, as I said, no new bombshells would be released. No big explosions whatsoever. Now, there's some new little nuggets of information, but nothing to make anyone say, aha. Now, most of which appeared to seem to be related to the initial investigation of the assassination by the Warren Commission of 1964. So that commission was held by Supreme Court Chief Justice at the time, Earl Warren, and concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald, as everyone is right now saying in the media, acted alone when he shot John F. Kennedy with a high-powered rifle from the 6th floor of the Texas School Book Depository overlooking Dealey Plaza as the president's motorcade passed below him. According to the official conclusion, has been subject to many controversy, with polls constantly showing a clear majority of Americans feel Kennedy was taken out as a result of a conspiracy. Case in point, why I mentioned that other person who felt that there was a secret cabal, a clique within the CIA that would do that. After all, no such thing as a wrong answer, but already with 52 votes in, I'm getting a whole 94% people saying no, 6% saying yes. Bless your hearts. That's why I love my audience, as I should. However, everyone is feeling that this is an era of true transparency, as former representative, or now new head of Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, is saying promises made, promises kept. But if it's stuff from 1992, it's not promises made. It's just you're regurgitating a steamed clam. Steamed ham. Even though they look like something from Krusty Burger. Continuing on, 3 days into his second term, President Trump signed an executive order giving officials 15 days to present him with a plan to release the remaining JFK files and 45 days to concoct a plan to release government files on the assassinations of RFK Sr. and Martin Luther King Jr. Again, probably stuff that we've already seen before. Under the 1992 Kennedy assassination records, Congress had set a 2017 deadline to release the outstanding and remaining JFK files, which is stuff that is the brand new stuff that we have to go through. So we have to swim through 80,000 pages of information. This is the beginning process. So everyone online is going to be acting like an expert. Everyone online is going to pretend to be holier than thou. But what I've been able to break down, at least from this most part, is that this is all set in motion. And this is a way in which Trump and his administration can tag along and say, oh, we released it all. Now, Congress did set that deadline, a 2017 deadline, for it all to be released. Now, who was president during that time? Of course, Donald Trump. He made that promise. Biden made the promise. Everyone makes promises. And of course, what better way to distract people from ongoing wars and economic instability and riots happening and vandalism happening than the release of the JFK files? Have a little shiny distraction before you. If you're looking at one thing, you should be looking at that other thing over there. Always keep your heads on a swivel. It's a distraction. Now, when the time came, Trump had released thousands of files, including 19,000 pages in 2018. But there were still some JFK files that kept under wraps amid pressure from national security officials like former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Now, by the end of 2022, former President Joe 30330 Biden had taken a similar approach to release over 13,000 files. So many pages. You know, instead of causing confusion, just release the whole goddamn thing. It's okay. It's okay to everyone in a position of power within the United States government. It's okay. The American people have a low approval rating of Congress. They have a low approval rating of both political parties. I mean, there's nothing you could do to dig your way out of a deep hole. But it's okay. I think they don't want anyone to say anything bad about them any further. Now, continuing on. Now, prior to this release that happened today, the National Archives records has estimated that roughly 98% of the files have been made public. Debatable. Debatable indeed. And already I'm seeing a couple people here. Let me just acknowledge the viewing audience. Thank you so much for joining me this late in the evening. Michael Phillip, 80,000 pages of crap. Steak says it's always a diversion. Sandra writes big blocks of black squares and a whole lot of redaction. Hold on. And of course, Swirly says, sure, we're getting WW3 via war with Iran, but look, JFK files. See, it's all a distraction. Kill your Gurges. Squirrel. Look at that. There you go. And of course, Potato Biden. Good to finally have you back, buddy. Classified from public so aggressively because a bunch of nothing burgers. Yeah, move along now. Absolutely. William Gosling says, a whole big old nothing. Absolutely. And of course, hold on. And Red Fox Punk says, it's an Albany expression, Kit. Well, I got family in Albany, and I've never heard that before, buddy. You better write your excuse down right now. That's more of a conspiracy, because I've been to Albany. I've never heard that before. Steam hams? Next thing you know, you're going to tell me you got the Aurora Borealis in your house. Anyways, continuing on. Of course, Fine Weather says, don't worry, be happy. Well, here's what else we could say. Here's what else we can add in here. Because remember, Oswald, before something happened to him, did say he didn't act alone. And he was being set up. Now, if we continue to push on a little bit further here, because more media outlets are now saying that since 98% of the files are being made public, there are now, there's the full-on embrace that Oswald was the main guy. Was he part of the KGB? The documents are saying no. Any indication of, well, our greatest ally overseas, it's being presented here and there. However, folks, I do want to put this up here because this is, again, a file that was brought up. Now, this is from Tim Pool. And I want everyone to understand, like, hey, look, everyone's going to be pointing at everything. This is from one of the documents. The day after the assassination, Gary Underhill left Washington, as I mentioned earlier, in a hurry. Late in the evening, he showed up at a home of friends in New Jersey. He was very agitated. A small clique within the CIA was responsible for the assassination, he confided. He was afraid for his life and probably would have to leave the country. Less than 6 months later, Underhill was found shot to death in his Washington apartment. The coroner ruled it as self-deletion. What could go wrong? Say it with me, folks. What could possibly go wrong? There is also the talk of what would happen to Mr. Lee Harvey Oswald and his role, and especially since him being such a high-profile person, it obviously triggered many people. JFK, if we all look back, was revered in a way that many politicians in this modern day and age could only dream about, because today's politicians are nothing but spineless, nutless wonders who only care about their financial portfolio. As we continue to progress forward into these documentations, and I want to pull this up here again, because again, this is available for all of you to have at your disposal. In fact, let me go ahead and click copy paste for the whole National Archives for all of you to have within your disposal. And let me pin it up there as well for everyone to have it, because I think it's important for true transparency. And I pinned those links also for Rumble as well. So that way, if people are asking, where can we get the archives? Where can we get this? I am pinning them in the chat for Rumble and on YouTube. Let me go ahead and paste this here for Kick. And let me also paste this once again here on X as well. So let me do that for everybody. All right. So 80,000 pages released. Some of the documentation is from 1992. Some of these files have been released already. Many of this also took place with a continuation of Trump's administration from the first term and from Biden's second term as well. And I want to put this up here from the Associated Press, because this just came to my attention right now. Thank you to my audience, because without all of you, you guys and gals would not make this show happen. So very grateful for the support that we're getting here. So what's been learned? Some of the documents are released have offered details on the way intelligence services operate in time, including CIA cables and memos discussing visits by Oswald to the Soviet and Cuban embassies during a trip to Mexico just weeks before the assassination. The former Marine had previously defected to the Soviet Union before returning home to the great state of Texas. Now, as it stands, if you tuned in earlier for the live stream, many of the documentations were saying that he was not part of the KGB. That is stuff that still has to be delved into further, but earlier pages that are right now available on social media and within some news agencies are saying that he acted alone. He was not part of it, nor was he part of any other foreign embassy. He might have had a sit-down conversation, and they probably said, "Hey, buddy, how you doing?" and didn't go anything further with that. One CIA memo describes how Oswald phoned the Soviet embassy while in Mexico City to ask for a visa to visit the Soviet Union. He also visited the Cuban embassy, apparently interested in a travel visa that would permit him to visit Cuba and wait there for a Soviet visa. On October 3rd, more than a month before the assassination, he drove back into the United States through a crossing point at the Texas border. Another memo dated after Kennedy's assassination says that, according to an intercepted phone call in Mexico City, Oswald communicated with the KGB officer while at the Soviet embassy that September. The releases have also contributed to the understanding of the time period that the Cold War researchers have said. So, who else better to blame than the Russians? Is this true open transparency? If some of the documents are from 1992, we've already seen this. It is a repeat. But I think the true takeaway from this, and this is something that we're going to all have to dedicate ourselves to go into even further, it's a perfect distraction while there's war going on. It's a perfect distraction while an economy is a mess. It's a perfect distraction when our political system has such low approval rating. It's a perfect distraction to ignore riots and protests. It's a perfect distraction right now for all of us to sit back, wonder what the big conspiracy theory is. It's a whole lot of nothing, and it's repeating and regurgitating things we already know. Now, I like to hope that this is it, all of it, but hope in one hand, crap in the other, see which one fills up faster. We're smarter than this, all of us are, and we're better than this. And when we see how constantly we're misled, or how the media helps contribute a narrative that allows us to be, I don't know, pointed in one direction, we have to remember why we are being pointed in that direction. It's the great distraction. It's the great trick of our time. Now, while there are more live updates happening, essentially for us all, it's all the same. I don't think there's going to be a big gotcha moment here. Now, I'm partaking and looking into all these documents too. I want to pull this entire file share here for everybody to see. So as you can see, throughout the entire National Archives, and again, it is pinned in our YouTube live stream chat and our Rumble live stream chat as well for everyone to have access to, because I feel like you, my audience, have every right to see this as well. I'm pretty sure all of you are on social media, and whoever you're following is more than happy to be posting those links as well. These are countless PDFs that are available for you, the viewing members at home, to have access to. And there's over 113 different pages, documentations, and information showing in real time. That one looks interesting. And this is all this stuff is available for you. So, believing in true. Hey, what's being redacted? What's being redacted? I thought we were having true transparency here. What's all this? Redacted. Now that would never happen, right? Hold on, let me share this tab here. I'm sorry you guys didn't see that. Redacted. Why are names being redacted? I thought we were having true transparency here. Now, to be clear here, it was probably like that when we got here, boss. It was probably like that way when we got there. Never once would we ever be misled. Never once would something be, I don't know, hidden or presented in a certain way. No such thing as redactions. Only the beginning, folks. Only the beginning. And of course, Potato Biden says, file a complaint. But who are you going to complain to? Who watches the watchers? Who is keeping an eye? Who is being the keen-eyed eagle on the wall? As much as I was hoping for there to be this big expose, this huge explosion of information, it's never going to be that easy. And even if it was the case, what can be done? I mean, most, if not any conspirators, let's say there was a big conspiracy and there was a secret cabal of people, probably all of them are either extremely senile or deceased or have disappeared far, far away off the radar. But congratulations. While a war is happening, economic instability is happening, we got distracted. These are fascinating documents, and I'm sure as we go through them, it's going to be stuff that we already know. It's going to be information that was already accessible to us. But the true final conclusion is that until we have real transparency with our current government, nothing will change. Yes, we know our government has hidden things before, but let's talk about now and the real tragedy. We know a lot of our politicians are bought and owned. We know our politicians are voting on bills to add more debt to our economy. We know our politicians do insider trading. Let me say that again. We know our politicians are doing insider trading. We know that their best interests are to expand their portfolios while they make more money. We know what they're doing. We know that corporate media is a system that's falling apart, but for decades, it was doing a very successful job in dividing us and helping contribute to the two-party system. The big reveal, the truth is that we're still being lied to this very day. Open your ears, be self-aware, and keep your heads on a swivel. That's what I can add here. Now, one other thing here too. I want to give a huge shout out to good friend of the show, Trailer Park Pundit. Good to see you. I'm going to send you a private message. I hope everything is all well with you, but I know that you are a fighter. You've been doing a lot of great work on your social media platform. If you're not following Trailer Park Pundit, please do so. 10 out of 10. Great show, great commentary. I love it, and it has my full salute. So shout out to you. Also, what else we got here? I want to give a full acknowledgement to INN. Shout out to Indy and his crew. I also want to give a huge shout out to also Do Dissidents and Lee Camp. Thanks for the shout out on your show earlier this afternoon. Really do appreciate it, guys. And Dan Barr says, say it ain't so, Kit. Oh, my friend, it is so. It is very true. But we're going to be ending this live stream here. This was going to be a short evening live stream, of course, and I do apologize here. But the purpose of this is just to acknowledge that there's going to be a lot of information and a lot of misinformation. And that's why I shared the archive links for everybody to have access in the live stream chat. So it's pinned up there. Everyone, before you do leave, at least click on that link, have it accessible, save it, and join in on the fun and being an amateur detective. If you can catch the clues, you are the winner, of course, as you should be. Now, we're going to be live tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central on YouTube, on Rumble, on Kick, and on X as well. If you want to help out Hard Lens Media, please, with the cherry on top, consider being a patron supporter. We also have a Substack as well. You can follow us on all of our social media links. I think that's important for you guys to do as well, because I think that's pretty awesome. In fact, hey, look, here's our Linktree. That way you could find us on YouTube, X, Rumble, Kick, our party animals on Discord, Patreon, PayPal, and Instagram as well. We're going to have some music by Jett. And I got to tell you guys, Jett's #1 in the hood. So if you're not following him, please do so. Before you do leave, please consider hitting the like button. It does boost up the algorithm and rhyme. I'll be seeing all of you on the flip side. Enjoy some music. Enjoy some jams. Have a great evening. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. 9 a.m. sharp, as I should, before you go to work. Because start your morning right and righteously angry with Hard Lens Media. Peace, take care, and remember, don't take crap from nobody.
perfect time for you to burn the bridge to self-forgiveness. Now's the chance, take a stand, stay your hand before you cast another vote for corporate interest. Another vote that chokes your hopes of owning your own home or opening a business. They love to say their hands were tied, the stars just weren't aligned for them to get their votes in line to see their promises delivered. But they killed it in an instant. Bills don't die by accident, they're all assassinated on behalf of the congressionally kismet. By some lobbyists who see themselves as agents of clandestine fate, not fences in a prison. Dealing in the stolen goods of sleeping slaves and trading on the futures of their children. Betting on a spread of daily dead where every grave's creating profit by the millions. For some fascists lurking in the wings and all of their affiliates. And every Etna demigod our senators conduct their darkest dealings with. It really gets impossible to document or fingerprint, because it isn't just a pattern of corruption, it's the very fabric making up the structure of the system that we're living in. So dash your hopes and down a margarita goes. You box the shadows, take a little nap, and then you get back in and swing again. But if the margarita made you sick, you probably wouldn't take a drink again. So if you're voting either party, honey, think again. I recommend you steel your nerves and never serve an officer, a president, a despot, or a king again. And mark my words, the day will come where we will rise and sing again. And if voting makes you sick, well, no one's forcing you to drink again. I didn't have to wait for long, I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raisin line, smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song, can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page you're on, but this is where you say you're wrong. This is where you finally admit you weren't ignorant. You boldly voted Joe like an informed and blissful idiot. You chose to blur the parts of Biden you don't find the prettiest. Now you choose uplifting news and filter out the grittiest. But the truth is something coarse enough that even when it's hidden, it's apparent when you feel it on your fingertips. I know it's hard to deal with from a distance, and up close the truth is hideous. But there's just no getting rid of it. You've gotta let it in, or it just worries at your skin at every moment, loud or intimate. But shake it off, for fuck's sakes. You don't have to celebrate or be so proud of progress by imaginary increments. You don't have to heap such constant praise on fucking villains, like their stillborn promises are honestly just isolated incidents, and not the product of the principle of privilege. Not intentional eugenics just by any other synonym, covered up with desperate clusterfucks of rosy images, labeled plain by any other name except for what the fucking image is. So once you stare the page down enough, you'll spot the difference. That one is red and one is blue, and that's the only truth, because neither one delivers on that promise of deliverance. One is red and one is blue, and that's the only difference. And the rest are isolated and imaginary incidents. One is red, one is blue, and that's the only difference. I didn't have to wait for long, I never had to change a song. I just sing it like a raised alarm, smile when you say I'm wrong. I can't even fade the song, can't fake while you play the charms. And I don't know the page we're on, but this is where you say you're wrong.
All lies will be exposed. All lies will be exposed.